Today we're going to investigate the inner workings of the door latch mechanism, sometimes called the remote link. We get to use the biggest Phillips screwdriver in our toolbox as we take apart the latch and the door pull mechanism. The door handle, of course, comes off with the Allen head screw. It is held in the door with two nuts, 7/16. Removal here is not too difficult. Behind this mechanism is a link that runs all the way back to the door latch. There is generally a guide right here, which is also a 7/16. Don't forget to take that off. You'll see it's a little horseshoe type clip that guides the link. Here is that link removed. You can see how it's a guide. It's behind the door here. The door latch is held on with 4 Phillips head screws. This is where you can sometimes get into an argument. Sometimes they just don't want to budge, and so you end up taking a hammer to your screwdriver and impact, and they'll break free. If you can't break them free with the impact hammer, this will generally do it. It's just your ratchet with a socket that happens to fit the Phillips head extension. Now I will remove the latch and the linkage system. That comes out straightforward enough. And the latch drops inside the door, but things won't come out until you start wrestling with them. I neglected to mention that I have already unhooked the door handle rod from the latch. Continuing with the removal, after a little bit of wrestle, you get the door handle mechanism and linkage rod out. And the latch mechanism will have fallen into the back area. Which can be retrieved. So here now is the latch mechanism out of the door. Taking these things out is a lot easier than putting them in, which is why we have to understand the little trick to it. The end of the linkage has a D-shaped cutout, and it fits into this odd-shaped receiver pin here. Inside the door, this fits into here. and comes up this way, back and forth to actuate, and because of that shape, it won't fall apart. On the door mechanism, where the handle goes, take a look at the back side. You can see there's a spring and a pivot. These should be thoroughly greased before you put them back in for smooth operation. So let's assume that we have our door mechanism and our latch mechanism all restored, lubricated, and ready to go back in. When these pieces go inside the door, you can imagine you're going to have a little bit of a wrestle trying to connect these pins inside the door. Especially if you've got power locks and power windows that complicate, you have less space. But there's a trick I've learned on how to do this. First, you're going to wrestle the lock back into the door. You know, it's one of those things that it'll snag on the window channel, it'll snag on everything else, but wiggle and work your way back in and get it installed, and get just one screw on it. Nice and loose. See all the movement I've got there? But at least it won't fall down in the door and I don't have to chase it. So get that much done. Now we get to wrestle with the door. Let's put the gloves on because there's lots of sharp edges in there. We're going to try to snake this back through there and catch that D shape. Alrighty, we're halfway there. And if I move the lock around, I've got half a chance of getting that D shape to engage. But don't do what I just did. I put the link in backwards. So, you know, I want to look definitely. I put it in. I've done this before. It's supposed to go in this way, so I can put the handle on it. Catch the D. Catch the D. Work your levers back up and in. And you're halfway home. Tighten up your 7/16 nuts here. Install your horseshoe keeper back in the door. Tighten up the Phillips screws. Reinstall your Phillips screws. Tighten and you're back in business.